I'm ready.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a special cupcake for you. Look at the front of our screen here. We got AFC East, the big dogs that showed up in fantasy this year, and we're going to take a look at what they had accomplished last year, of course, and what we're looking for in the future to draft them. And we're only looking at AFC East. If you've joined us, you want to hear about another division, go ahead and let us know, but we probably will cover each one. So like, subscribe, so you can get ready for more. Ready?
Ready, break.
All right.
All right, let's get into it.
The Bills, let's go ahead and cover them. They're top left in this little Excel spreadsheet. This isn't Excel, all right? I'm using Open Office. For those of you who hate Microsoft, just chill. All right? Chill out. Bills. Josh Allen. All right? Josh Allen is the offense. We all know it. The offense lives through him. It breathes through him. Wherever the ball goes, it is decided through him. His favorite targets, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. We got them both highlight. Anybody that's on the list and they maybe are boldened, we've kind of looked at and we're like, these are kind of big names that we need to focus on. The other names, we will hit them if we feel like they're deemable to talk about. I feel like this list was brought to you by Rydog. Rydog, why don't you go ahead and let us know what your thoughts were coming up on this Bills list?
I basically wanted to make a list of players I deemed that in 2023 we might draft or have questions about possibly drafting. So, like you said, what we have Bolden are players that are super relevant, definitely are going to be drafted next year. I mean, besides, getting traded or getting hurt in the offseason. And the ones that aren't are questionable guys that if they stay, they might get drafted, they might not.
Yeah, so Josh Allen's stats are to the right on the screen. Here we go. End of the season, pretty wild. Some of these games were 30 points, 40 points, 44 points. Our league, we score a little bit more for touchdowns for quarterbacks. We keep it at 6. We haven't changed it. We feel like you get the touchdown, you get the touchdown. That's 6 points.
He's a tutty, boy.
Yeah.
He's a tutty.
So some of these points are pretty high. Quarterback position in our league is pretty coveted. It's a big position. You got someone like this can win you weeks.
Multiple weeks.
Are you nervous about this guy's arm?
No. I think Josh Allen's he's that Patrick Mahomes. There's only 2 players in the tier 1 quarterback to me, and it's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. If someone took them in a first round draft, I would, because I don't draft that way, I'd be like, I wouldn't do that. But I also don't think it would break their team or anything. They got a positional advantage every week.
What if I told you Jared Goff was in the top 5 fantasy quarterbacks?
I would be shocked, and when we get to the NFC North, that'll be super noteworthy.
That's gonna be interesting to talk about.
Wait.
That's only
over,
3 spots below Josh Allen.
Hey, check this out. Not to get way sidetracked, because it's obvious what we're going to do here, but he only had 29 touchdowns too.
Oh yeah,
so he did it on the back of yardage. He had to have.
Oh yeah, he did. A lot of yardage. Maybe some rushing yards somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, man, it's all yardage.
Not much. It's only 73. Oh, never mind. Well, our boy Josh Allen had 762 rushing yards, 7 tutties on the ground, and 35 passing touchdowns, only 14 interceptions. The guy was sacked 33 times, possibly, it's not too bad. Mid-pack of the league. Wow, someone was sacked
Oh my God, Tua.
55 times. Justin
That's
Fields
Justin
holding on
Fields.
to the ball, man. Right?
Probably.
Russell
Well,
Wilson.
yeah, not surprised. Holding on to the ball
Okay,
for sure.
that's terrible.
Anyways, anyways,
Let's go back to
uh,
points here.
Josh Allen had 42 total touchdowns this year, like, with his rushing and passing put together, which
I
is a
mean,
huge reason
almost hit
why
500
he had
fantasy
so many
points
good
with
weeks.
Mahomes.
Mahomes, look how many yards Mahomes had.
Dude, Mahomes is on another level.
Would you would give him his own tier by himself?
I think he hits MVP maybe.
He wins. Well, probably.
Who's more valuable on their team, Mahomes or Josh Allen?
I
Probably
might
Josh
even argue
Allen.
Jalen Hurts.
You think Jalen Hurts the most valuable player
I'm
this
saying
year?
some people would argue that. Sure,
Oh, definitely
because
not. Maybe.
there's a team that could barely make the playoffs, and now they're in the Super Bowl. And
Yeah,
what
look at Joe
changed?
Burrow, dude. That team would be nothing without Joe Burrow too. I mean, a lot of these teams would be nothing, but I feel like one of the teams that would still be hitting on some cylinders with Chad Henne at the back would, Kansas City. So maybe most valuable doesn't go to Patrick. Get system with Andy Reid always
Andy
produces
Reid's a
good
monster.
numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, back to our actual list here. Josh Allen, amazing quarterback. Not much to be said other than definitely draft him. If you did it in the first round, I wouldn't be a hater.
Yeah,
In
I mean,
2023, I'd be like, okay, I get
you
it.
got a
I'm
league
not
like
going to do
ours.
that because I don't do that, but
I mean,
I
one
get
of
it. I
these
get it.
one of these top two quarterbacks could get an argue to me as a first round quarterback towards the tail end. Um, like we were just saying, you get one of these guys and they're scoring 50 points on your team. That's a week changer. You're gonna get a win that week probably. Like I'd assume
Right.
so.
I normally go for like the streaming side of fantasy with quarterbacks, but when you can get somebody that can score 50 points as a quarterback, you cannot find that on the waiver wire streaming a quarterback. So there is this, yeah, they would be worth it
So,
if you want to construct your team that way.
what do you think about Dawson Knox? You got him in
I
this
I
list.
bet he finished like what, tight end
Oh
9,
wow. Okay.
I guess.
He is kind of down there.
Well,
I
I'm
thought maybe
totally
he'd be a little
wrong.
bit higher up. Number 16.
16. So Dawson was good. Not obviously not this last season. He wasn't the best, but the season before, I'm pretty sure he finished top 12. He looked like he got going at the end. It was more like the beginning of the season. Didn't really do much.
Yeah, the beginning
A
of the
lot of
season was kind of
touchdowns.
rough. I
He
think I
down on
remember seeing
touchdowns on
him
the whole season too. So
really picking it up at the tail end of
I,
the season.
Dawson Knox wouldn't draft him next year.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Bills don't have a good tight end.
It's like
I
if you're
probably
not
wouldn't
getting
have.
Travis Kelsey or Kittle or my boy Taysom Hill, I don't know what you're
Vomit.
doing.
Well, Taysom Hill's not a tight end, so.
I played him all year at tight end. I don't know what you're talking about, Billy.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool that you put a quarterback at tight end. That's awesome.
He
How
got me
many?
43
I would
points in
love to
1 week.
see it. Maybe we do a podcast just on Taysom Hill, and we go through like how many snaps did he take? How many times did he actually line up as a receiver versus a quarterback?
Yeah, maybe we
How
should.
many times? How many times was he out at running back? Like it'd be a pretty good little podcast to put together,
Yeah,
proving that he
and
wasn't a tight end, obviously.
so we got a decent amount of running backs on this list for the Bills, but Singletary hit the front page of our list, which I believe is the top 25. Let me go ahead and
I
click here.
personally
It's top
own Devin
22.
Singletary this past season, so do know the ins and outs of what we're about to get into, and it was a bumpy ride.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're looking
It
at
would get you
fours.
10
We're looking at
points.
zero or well, not a zero. That was by week. Threes. Really low
7,
scores,
5,
all the way up to like
6.
some 16s and 20s.
And I played him almost every week. through the whole year
I remember
because
that.
I just was hoping and praying.
You gonna do that next year?
that he get-
You gonna draft one of these Bills running
Well,
backs?
the other Bills running back was James Cook, and he shouldn't be too much further down this list because at the end of the season, there he is. At the end of the season, they started giving more and more carries to this rookie. Was
Oh
eating
yeah.
into Devin and hurting Devin's value, which is one of the reasons why I ended up in the season getting rid of him. Is the Bills might have moved on, and Devin Singletary is a free agent this year, so
Ooh.
it might be James Cook show next year. It was Devin Cook's brother, if anyone was wondering, the Cook brothers. So I think it's an interesting thing to bring up because between the two, I wouldn't draft either of them before the third or maybe fourth round would be as late as I would go. But one of the two is gonna be the only one that I would want. If they're both still on the team, would be worst case scenario. I would still go with James Cook over Devin Singletary, just based on their actions at the end of the season. And if you just watch, like on the field on tape, James Cook is pretty darn good. It was just his rookie season, so
Yeah. They're good running backs, but is Saquon Barkley gonna end up on the Bills, and that team just go haywire, destroying everybody next year? I don't know. We're gonna see.
hot takes, hot takes.
Stephon Diggs. We're looking at this one. He's the top 4 in our league according to scoring and fantasy points. Stephon Diggs, congratulations on your year, hitting over 100 receptions and 1,400 yards, 11 tutties,
11 tutties, bro.
276 points in our league. You were a difference maker for quite a bit of weeks,
Oh yeah,
especially early
especially the
on in the
first
season.
first half.
It didn't. No one could cover this guy.
Open all day, 100-yard games left and right. A 3 touchdown performance.
Very consistent player. Some of these weeks were 11 to 20 points each week, every week. It gets you top 4 in our league at wide receiver.
This is
Stud wide receiver should be drafted every year, probably in the first, second round. What do you think?
Stephon Diggs. Personally, we're back onto my team. Like this was my first round pick this past season. So
But your team name is Stephon Diggs, my grave.
yeah, well, go back into his game logs, and this is the story of Stephon Diggs. Winner, winner, everything's great, and then we get into the playoffs and championship weeks at the bottom,
Ooh,
and
they shut him
boy,
out.
he just boy, oh boy,
Went
did
against
I.
Xavier Howard, went against Gardner in the Jets, and went against
I don't know who
Chicago.
Chicago, but yeah, it hurt. It definitely hurt.
Oh, wow. He did dig your grave. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
so,
Interesting
but that
to
you get
maybe
that with
think
receivers,
about
like
next year when you go to draft him early, how he
oh
did
yeah.
dig your grave.
Listen, go to CD Lamb real quick.
See.
We're a little bit off topic here. Um, if you look at his game logs, right? Receivers
Woo,
just do this. Receivers have
woo.
games where they're just 5 points, 8 points. Like scroll up a little
Man,
bit.
how do you even compete with this
7.
in the championship game?
Yeah, but see how he was kind of slow at the beginning, and then he came. It's what receivers do. They have these lulls, and then all of a
They,
sudden,
yeah.
and it was kind of just unfortunate for Stephon and the owner of him that his lull came at the very end of the season when you needed him the most. Well, I wouldn't fault him for it. I would still take him in the first round because he can hit. He's another one of those players that can hit 40 to 50 points in a week. That just literally wins you the week.
I had a feeling there'd be only one Gabe. Okay.
There's only
So,
one game in the league. Gabe Davis.
33rd Mr. Gabe Davis. Next year, he will be another year in the offense. I do not believe this guy's
Will
going
he?
to the free agency.
I don't think he's on the list,
He
but
wasn't on our list, I don't think.
this year for Gabe Davis was supposed to be the breakout year. They gave him, we don't have it in front of us, but they gave him exceptional amount of snaps, an exceptional amount of targets to prove he can be an alpha. And ending at fantasy receiver number 33 tells me that there was plenty of weeks, and I can see him right in front of me, 5, like 1 point, like
It's just
just so hit
consistently
and
over
miss.
5 points this all year.
I wouldn't draft that. Would you draft this?
No, I'm not looking to try to have. Okay, so you know me. I'm not one to draft many wide receivers in the first place.
Right.
But to get that type of production, I'm not drafting that.
It feels strange to me. It's one of the reasons why I put his name on the list and Isaiah McKenzie's name, because Isaiah McKenzie might take the Gabe Davis job over because Gabe Davis didn't show up. Gave him everything that you could possibly want to show that you're a next level talent, and maybe they're like, let's try Isaiah McKenzie next year. Maybe they'll draft a wide receiver. For an offense as high powered as the Bills is, you would think that their number two receiver would be amazing, not just okay. Those numbers,
Wow.
what did he finish?
Isaiah McKenzie instantly gets me a little bit more intrigued here. I
I
get
think
more
he
rushing. They were sending him into rushing packages. This guy looks like he can be their slot, their running back at times, their trick play guy.
That's
Um,
exactly how they used him this
yeah,
past year.
and like a CJ Spiller type role, but he's doing it maybe better. Um, it could be very interesting to see what he ends up next year and how he's doing. Maybe a flyer in the draft, this upcoming draft,
Maybe,
in the fantasy draft.
maybe. I know people
All
were
right.
were very hyped on Gabe Davis this past season and drafted him high, and he did not finish where we expected him to whatsoever. So I don't think we'll all make the same mistake with Isaiah, but like you said, flyer worthy maybe.
And now we're on to the Jets. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the last team that we were talking about, but I hate the Jets. I'm sorry. Some of you love the Jets. If you love the
Is,
Jets, put a comment down below. Tell me about how you really hate the Dolphins or something. I don't care. Whatever.
is it the
Just
color? Is it because of the green?
it's they're just the Jets, dude. It's terrible. Every year.
Plain.
It's terrible to watch. They put out a bad product every year. I don't say that about the Patriots. I don't say that about the Bills. Um,
Right. It's just the Jets. They have bad product, big market, not
gross.
worth the ticket.
Leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Ugh. It's like, man, let's just skip the Jets. Fuck it. All right, on to Miami.
On to Miami. Dude, I'm fine. Let's skip them. Seriously, let's talk
All right,
about
so
Tua.
Mike Gesicki. Let's see where he was.
You know what? You're
And
right. Mike Gesicki is probably worth more talking
we'll talk
than the
about Mike
Jets.
Gesicki because the Jets are ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Mike Gesicki all the way. Here we go. What
Here,
we
all
got?
the way down here, real quick. Number 24.
Ooh, 24 tight end. Still better
Put
than
the
all the
team on
Jets.
his back. 69 yards, 2 tutties.
1 week, huh? Just
1 week he did that.
1 week. So
All
I
right,
put him
so
on
Mike
this list
Gesicki put a
because he
nail
was
in it.
supposed
He's
to be
probably not going to be
something
with the
this
team
year.
next year, right?
I don't think he is. I think he's a free agent. I don't think he's coming back. I don't know what y'all gonna do at tight end.
I don't know who's going to do the fucking gritty after
The
touchdowns anymore.
the hope that Gasecki was gonna be something in fantasy, I think is is done. It's gone.
Well, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. All right, let's talk
Right.
about
All
the
right.
wonderful Miami Dolphins wide receivers. Let's go ahead and talk about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Waddle, Waddle, Waddle. Let's see what's going on here. Number 2 wide receiver. Uh, Lots of targets to this guy. Does he deserve them? Nah, every time. Uh,
Average
Bumpy,
draft position for
kinda.
Tyreek Hill was the second round this year, by the way.
This guy was. Remember about, I think it was right here at this week against Chicago. People are saying if this guy keeps up what he's doing right now, he's going to shatter the wide receiver single season record. Did he keep it up? No.
No, because that's the
Kinda.
record for a reason.
It is a record. Let's go ahead and see how many yards he ended up pulling out. He got 1,700. Who beat him out? Justin Jefferson. We'll talk about him later. Y'all know the rules. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. That's going to get you a chance to maybe hear what we have to say about Justin Jefferson. For now, let's just say the guy had a hell of a year, 1,800 yards. It's beating out my boy Tyreek Hill. Props to him. You had your quarterback all season. We'll see what happens next year. Right? All right, Tyreek
Tyreek
Hill.
coming for that number one. I mean, I laugh, but you're not wrong. Like,
Yeah.
where do you take Tyreek Hill if Tua? He will be. Tua will be healthy next year going in. Where do you take Tyreek Hill next year?
High. First, second round.
Round?
You have to.
I mean, he was a second round pick this past year and totally worth it.
Totally
I would've
worth it. Every bit of
Yeah,
it.
I'm been like, oh yeah, give me him in the second round for sure.
This looks like This
Looking
looks
back.
like straight up quarterback numbers. I'd be happy with my quarterback doing this some weeks.
Yeah, no, not some weeks. If I had this
Most weeks.
quarterback,
Yeah.
if I had this all year and I didn't have to pay a lot for him, I would be pretty happy.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Oh, picked up my quarterback.
Yeah.
His name's Tyreek Hill. I'm playing him at quarterback.
Because
Be
that's how
great
this shit
all
works.
year. All right, on to the
Yeah,
next
I
one.
take him first, second round, like you said.
Yeah, I agree.
Jalen,
Mr. Waddle. Wada wada wada.
that's where we get interesting.
The most electrifying wide receiver in the NFL. The guy who runs just under Tyreek Hill's speed. He claims to be faster. But both of them are slower than Raheem Mostert. We'll talk about him next. My favorite running back in the league. Y'all see why. All right. Waddle destroyed in terms of numbers. That first half of the season, first 8 games, he just looked like, the wide receiver you want to have. Lots of missteps where Tua was out probably. I believe the Cincinnati game, Tua got hurt, right? And then he wasn't there for the Jets, and he wasn't there for the Minnesota game. So these 3 weeks are the Tua's out, all right? And then, Tua's back for most of the season, and he's electrifying every time he's back. We know what happened here in San Francisco. Yeah, so this is what you get. You're getting top wide receiver play from the Dolphins and Tua. Drafting Waddle next year, he sits somewhere around number 8. In our league, he's 7. Where do you think you're drafting him next year?
That's the hardest question, and to be honest with you, it's because of Tyreek Hill. It's like it is so they're so talented, but if one goes off, the other one doesn't have to go off, but could go off. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
it's
feel
just
like
not as likely, right?
I feel like what happens is Tyreek Hill's always gonna get the bigger portion of this, and so whenever you don't need it, Jalen Waddle's gonna be the one that doesn't get it. You know what I'm
My
saying?
thing is, when does
So
Waddle take over in terms of receptions and yards? Is that a year from
Um,
now, 2 years from now?
that's whenever Tyreek Hill's contract's almost over.
You
Not the
really
year
think
that
Cheetah's that much better of a wide receiver?
I don't know, but they pay him like that.
Oh, that's true.
They're
You're
gonna
right.
use him like that. I hope Waddle keeps progressing and then turns into him, and they won't. I wouldn't make that transition based on money and all the things I'm saying of developing Waddle, use Tyreek Hill for the money, and him do his work until like maybe the last year of the contract or just before, like the year before, halfway through the season. And then I might
It's
start.
pretty
Trying.
impressive. Dolphins
I'm
had
not sure.
2 wide receivers within
As
that
far as
top
where
eight.
yeah, it is very impressive, especially considering that they didn't have Tua all season. Your question on where I draft him, since I think Tyreek Hill will be like first or second round, fourth, maybe the third for
Late
Waddle,
third, maybe. Late
maybe.
fourth,
I
somewhere
don't
around
know,
there.
man.
I can't
It really
imagine
just
passing
depends
him
on
up
instructions of teams.
at the fourth. Fourth round.
Yeah,
Am
you
I gonna
got three
take?
people. Yeah, you're right. Especially the way you draft. If you got three running backs and then he's staring at you in the fourth round, you're definitely gonna take him. So yeah, in that sense, for teams that are constructed like that, yeah. So it's probably a third round pick. I don't think he'd ever get past the fourth, so people take him probably a little bit sooner in the draft season. So he's probably a third round pick.
All right. I think we are on to the most electrifying, dynamic runner in the game. Uh, Raheem Mostert. Now, I'm really high on this guy because I know he is the fastest player on the field at all times. When healthy, he also averages higher yards per carry than majority of all Hall of Famers. We're talking about a guy who took the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl on his back, carried him there. I seen it. I was alive for it. Some of you too, maybe hearing this. You watched it. You forgot. Well, y'all must have forgot, and the guy has been dominating when he's healthy. Now, these numbers don't look the best because
Look like Devin Singletary's numbers.
they didn't give him the role that he was supposed to have. Now, will they see what he did last year and say, you know what, we need to get the ball to this guy and feature him more? I hope. I hope so. Hope they pay the guy. I wanted to watch
Is
Raheem Mostert run the ball more than Jeff Wilson. I don't know about most of the other fans, but a lot of us were saying, oh, Raheem. Now, it's not just because I had him on my team. Some of y'all see the Save the Dolphins marker right here. I went out and traded for him. I had to go get him, I'm pretty sure.
This has nothing to do with that.
That has nothing to do with that. It's not because, I had him on my team and I need him to do better. No, I don't even have him next year, so chill out.
Calm
This
down.
is
It's
what I
not
really
dynasty.
feel should happen for the Dolphins. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Jeff Wilson was looking pretty good. Was he looking better than Raheem Mostert? Some games, maybe. But, Raheem Mostert, when healthy, showed us why he was much funner to watch. Just completely flashed by defenders, not even giving him a chance to touch him. Where Wilson's, banging heads with them. I'd rather have a guy that can just fly by. That's my thing.
Jeff Wilson is, I believe, 3 years younger.
Jeff Wilson is younger. Gonna cost a little bit less probably than Mostert. I think we sign them both. Why not? They proved they could do the job. They're great.
Get
Tua.
it done, Miami.
Wait. Where are we drafting the Miami running backs? Where are you? Go ahead and say.
Okay, so if it just stays,
If both of them stay, They're both themed
Okay.
1A, 1B.
Fifth round for Mostert and sixth, maybe seventh for Jeff.
I could see
And
that.
and
So
it's
you're
just
in the
because
boat that Mostert's the more
and
back you want, the back you want more.
I think so because like, well, it just goes back to the Tyreek thing. If they pay both of them and bring him back, you use the older guy up because he's not going to be worth it sooner.
Mm, okay, I get
And
that.
let the younger guy develop. So I would just okay. So the money tells me it's like the Tyreek Hill thing. It's probably going to be Mostert. He had a good season. I think he had more yards. Um, he's faster. So like for fantasy, I prefer faster running backs in fantasy if I can get them because they always have that potential to break a 50-yarder. Whereas Jeff Wilson's just going to bang his way for 7, 8 a carry, and his volume's what's going to get him there in fantasy and a couple touchdowns. I like home run plays more, so like that would be another reason why I'd take him sooner.
Yeah, so Jeff
Um,
Wilson really
that's a
wasn't too
good.
much further
I'm
behind.
glad you brought that up, and we should really put a draft capital on all these players going forward because that'll be a big one next season. Like everyone wants running backs. There's gonna be a starting running back in Miami.
There
Which
will
of the
be.
two, if both of them are there, who do you take? Do you take them back to back? Do you put both of them on your team?
It's
Would
like,
you go like round six, like round five, round six? I'll just take both of them and just see what happens.
yeah, so let's take a look at Jeff Wilson's numbers right here. When he came to Miami, uh, he had that big game, 119 and a tutty, but that was the welcome to Miami game, I feel like. Um, and then the rest of the season was, yo, Mostert's our guy, right? And so that's what we saw. Um, Nothing against Jeff Wilson. I think you're a great running back, but Mostert is our guy. We will be drafting him early over here in Lobe. Let's go ahead and move on to Tua. Mr.
The key,
Tagovailoa, the most controversial quarterback in the league, the guy that people hate, they love to hate, they hate to love, and they all of that shit. All of it. Mix it in a little pot, a little kettle,
a
boil
little
it,
kettle,
and you got
stew it
Tua.
up, a little witch's brew,
And you got the Tua brew. And
little brew.
it's full of hate, it's full of love, it's full
Oh
of
my goodness.
concern and uh, all the things that football is. Tua is football. Football is Tua. And we all just got to realize that this guy, he grew up different. All right? He's been wanting this more than anybody, and his drive and his passion, though his body isn't really there for it, it reminds me of Drew Brees. Now, it might not be because of the concussions and all that, but he got hurt early in his career, big injury. Some people thought he'd never play again, but slowly became a Hall of Fame quarterback every year after that one coach that he had the bad years in.
Right, and he got traded.
And then he
Right.
got traded, right? Yeah, I can't
He,
remember.
he
Drew
Brees
Brees'
played.
career is amazing. Any of you that haven't really gone through it, go ahead and watch a quick documentary. What an amazing career.
From what I remember of it, it's been a while since I've gone through it, but I'm pretty sure he got drafted by the Chargers, got hurt, then he got traded to the Saints, and Sean Payton came along, and the rest is history. 5,000-yard seasons, like I think
Every
three or
year.
four of them.
Hall of Fame career, Hall of Fame year every year. Just
That's
like
a pretty good comparison too, because of how the like Tua, his playing style is quick diagnosis, nowhere to go with the ball, super accurate
put it where
passes.
the player will be.
His
Yeah.
his anticipation, like his accuracy of where to place this ball away from defenders, like all of that's super high IQ. His downfalls are just, I feel like when he's
Body
under
won't keep
pressure,
up with him.
he starts making bad decisions under pressure, but that's because he's been hurt so much. So like, who wouldn't?
I mean,
Um,
we've seen all the quarterbacks: Tom Brady, the Mannings, Drew Brees, all of them under a certain situation is gonna throw some bad balls. Happens.
So I think that what he does on the field is it's really I don't know how to put this other than like worth it on for teams. Like it's a wise way to construct your quarterback career because you're relying on your high IQ and accuracy versus Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts.
and Lamar Jackson,
you know what I'm
he's
saying?
Lamar Jackson, but he's not the drive and the passion to be the best at the position. Is there in some quarterbacks where the talent is there in others, and it's a beautiful merger of those two, the will, the desire, and the talent to create something that's insanely special. We all know Manning and Brady, the best quarterbacks to ever do it. They weren't all body and talent. They were mind, and they worked on their body a lot. But,
Right. It was all upstairs though. It was
all
mostly
upstairs. Yep.
yeah. Read the coverage, know where I'm going,
And look
put the
at
ball in that
this.
spot.
After the concussions, okay, gets concussed in Cincinnati. He's out. All right. 3 weeks. Comes back and absolutely goes on a tear. The Dolphins don't do this. All right. Let me get it clear for anyone listening up. We do not do that. The Dolphins do not. All right. We do
300
not
yards
have
per
seasons like this. No. No, never. Never in my history of being a
Dan
Dolphin
Marino will be
fan.
the last time, right?
If Tuba's not back under center, this may be the last time we see consistent, like, MVP numbers out of our quarterback. I don't know what it is, but we haven't had it. It doesn't happen. Every year we get a new quarterback. Garbage. Chad Henne for years. Meh. Like, the last one I can think of is Chad Pennington. We got all these Chads, but no one's really the hero.
Tannehill years.
We need someone to save the Dolphins. Will it be Tua? I hope. Will he stay healthy? I hope.
Right. Ultimate question: Where do you draft Tua?
Big question. Big question. He's.
One game he hit 50 points, didn't he?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that game real quick. Can he
I was
produce
like,
these numbers next
year? When you first
year?
pulled it up, I was like, oh yeah, he did have this.
Let's keep in mind, this guy got Tyreek Hill a little bit late into the offseason, I believe. And that offense was firing on all cylinders when they wanted it to. Look at the first 3 weeks. Tua didn't have to do a whole lot the first week. He got almost 300 yards in a tutty. The next week, he had to put the team on his back completely. And everyone was like, oh my God, Tua? What?
Yeah,
469. What? 55 points. What the hell? 6 tutties?
A rushing yard? Oh my! Oh wait, that's not
Yeah, it's just nuts. Dude was, and it was against Lamar, the guy who was the face of the NFL. And here we are talking about the Dolphins for this whole podcast. We haven't really talked about any of these other ones. Y'all know me. This is how it gets. But this is Tua. Where are we going to draft him? Late.
Yeah, streaming.
I think 6, 7. You think
Go
he
like
lasts
eighth
that
round.
long in our league?
You got 2 Dolphin fans. I think you'll let him fly. I don't think
Leroy's
letting
not
him go
letting him
past,
fly.
Like the
Kirk
6th or
won't let him
7th
fly
round.
either. Kirk will have 3 quarterbacks by the end of 5.
I don't
Kirk,
know
if
why
you're
he does
listening to
that.
this is a sign. Maybe you shouldn't
Don't
take
do
so many
that.
quarterbacks.
You shouldn't do this. You should only take one really good one, like your Patrick Mahomes, and leave it
Kirk
at that.
does it like every year, though. He'll take 2.
I think he thinks he's like holding them from everybody, and like, aha, it's like, yes.
And we're like, aha, we're getting a better running back, wide receiver,
You-
whatever.
yeah, like cool. You handicapped us for a little bit, but one, you're taking up a roster spot where you can't any flexibility unless you drop them. That was
The
pointless.
the change in quarterback.
Or trade bait, and I never draft players intending to trade them later. I don't ever do. I've done that in the past, thinking that way, and it never works. You
Hell
end
no,
up stuck
because
with them.
if you did that to me, I'm gonna force you to just hold on to it.
Because you could like that was the problem with that. I was like, oh yeah, here, and then the person's like, oh, I see what you're doing, and no, keep them.
Yeah.
It's like,
Good
oh
luck. Keep them. In our
no,
league,
it's made
that's what they
so
love
many
to do.
mistakes.
Everyone will do it.
Yeah,
They're like, oh yeah, keep them.
like Doug's a Cowboys fan. If you got CD Lamb going, oh, I'm gonna trade CD Lamb to Doug for like so much stuff, he would be like, go kick dirt. I don't
Yeah.
care.
He's like,
I
go
don't need
go
one
jump
of my
off a
favorite
bridge.
players in real life on my team. I don't care about that. You
Yeah,
keep
he
him, and
he
you're
does
like,
not
no,
care.
I don't even like this person. I'm like, yeah, eat it. So I just don't do that. Don't fantasy advice for the podcast here. Don't ever draft a player with the intentions on trading him to someone else. It's not going to work out for you.
On to the Patriots and Mac Jones. Let's take a look. Where did Mac Jones end up in?
Page 3.
Oh my! All the
Oh,
way
he
at the
barely cracked it.
bottom.
Back the first page.
QB
Number
27.
20.
In
Da,
our
da,
league, he was
da.
QB 25. Just letting you guys know. Uh, are we drafting this guy? Let's just make this clear real quick. Because if we're not
No.
drafting him, do we even talk about him?
We could talk about how it's. This is where I kind of want to talk about with the Patriots. We can hit everything but one player in one shot here. Mac Jones, Damian Harris, Kobe Myers, Parker, Hunter Henry, all of those guys. The Patriots have a terrible offense. They're not going to score that many touchdowns this season. I don't know what they could possibly do to fix it. Max Jones is not the quarterback to fix it. I don't think. Just based on what I saw last year. They don't have good receivers. Sorry, but Parker, I know you're a Miami fan, but Parker's no longer that good. Kobe Myers just a role play. The
What
only
a
person
weird,
on the Patriots worth anything is Ramondre Stevenson. He's
what a
actually
weird
worth a lot.
franchise. Here we all thought it was Bellatrix that made the Patriots tick, and it was an old, wrinkled quarterback named Brady.
Mm-hmm. Really was.
It was
I mean,
Brady.
at this point, it was probably 80% Brady.
Yeah, because I'm thinking back to it, and I'm like, they never helped that motherfucker out. They never
Oh,
helped
name
him
me,
out.
name me great receivers that Tom Brady had consistently.
Yeah, consistently. No, don't say Randy Moss in the
That was
comments down
one
below,
year.
or like
One
all
year.
these
Yeah, he
like
had. And guess what? Guess what? Tom Brady had 50 freaking touchdowns the year they gave him Randy Moss. Like,
yeah,
why don't you
breaking
do that some more?
records and all
No.
kinds of crazy shit. The guy was
Then Gronk,
nuts.
right?
Gronk.
Gronk's
He
the
had
other one.
Aaron Hernandez. Fucking all kinds of talent.
That's
Non-stop
it. Like,
talent.
but at the receiver position,
And then
it was literally Randy Moss for one year.
it was
That's
like
all I know.
2 years he had great season with the great wide receivers and great core around him. And then the rest of the years was, man, Brady's got nobody. Who's he gonna throw to? Somehow he still makes it to the playoffs every year. Like what? How? The guy was obviously cheating,
Julian
right?
Edelman slant routes.
So yeah, we start talking Patriots, we start talking Tom Brady already, and it's kind of funny that
Because it's so sad how where they're at now that he's gone.
that's what it's come to. That's what it's come. And the really only relevant player is Ramondre Stevenson.
That's it. And he's super relevant.
Oh, incredibly
Like,
relevant. Like best, might be round one,
two.
top 5.
Two. Oh man.
What do you think?
Go pull his numbers up real quick. It's a
Okay,
strong take. Top 5?
I'm
Dude,
saying
it's
top 5,
relevant.
bro. I
Other
just
running backs out there.
wait. Okay, if I say top 5, that means I'm not. I okay.
Oh yeah, see, you're going
See, that
backwards
puts
here.
him in the Barkley Chubb situation above
Barkley,
Pollard
Chubb,
and Dalvin
yeah.
Cook and
See,
Aaron Jones.
see.
But
But I mean, you're
it's
not far
right
off.
there.
You're really not that far off.
Because you got to
You can't
consider
even,
he wasn't getting the
can't even consider.
numbers right in the first 4 or 5 games.
It was Damian Harris till week 4 when Damian got hurt. I know
And
that
then
because
you can
unfortunately I
see him
drafted Damian
take the
Harris.
fuck off after that.
God, this should have been Damian. But yeah, like you're. Oh man, here's a question: Kenneth Walker versus Mondre. Because Kenneth Walker didn't finish very high, but he didn't get the work at all
Mm.
till like halfway through the year.
I think Kenneth Walker might hit top 5. Actually, you know what? You can put a bet. This might be the best running back year that we've had coming up for running backs. Oh my god, in a decade.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, look at some of these names though.
People
When
get
was it
hurt,
like
and that's what really bums me out about running backs is like, yeah, this is great, and then someone's gonna tear an ACL in training camp.
right.
And we're like
But
crap, and then someone else is gonna get hurt in week 2, and we're like crap.
but you got to think some of these guys are freeing up their 1B and now they are 1S. They're just the S player there.
Yeah, sure.
Superstar. And so
Stop.
we got I'd be ecstatic to have every single one of these running backs going all the way down here on this
Till
list
Najee.
until well, I'm
You
not
gotta.
I'm not going to judge Najee yet until he has I see what the
Real
offensive
quarterback?
line they do. You know what I mean?
Oh well.
He gets a better offensive
The
line.
only
the
reason
it's
why he
a whole
finishes
nother
there is
story.
because of the
He's
volume.
great.
That's
He's a
it.
great running back, right?
I mean, once his foot got healed for the second half of the season, which I'm gonna give you props right now. You called it. I remember when it first happened, I was like brushing it off because it wasn't really reported. But you're like, no, I don't like this. I don't like his foot might have this thing, and I was like, but he's gonna play. You're like, yeah, but he's got this plate and his shoe, and I was like, whatever.
And look how
So,
long it took for him to become
look,
Najee again.
no joke. Week 11 is the same week he took the thing out of his shoe. This is literally the week that the plate thing came out of his shoe. Look
Yeah,
what he did.
and I was like, what kind of running back is going to be as effective with that shit in his fucking shoe? I was like, not happening.
So you nailed it on being worried about that, but I feel justified of like, no, he'll be fine. Najee Harris is a good running back, but you were right, and that offensive line is terrible. That offense is terrible. Let's go side tangent on Najee Harris and the Steelers here because we don't even want to talk about the Jets anyways. But if you go look at Kenny Pickett's numbers, the rookie quarterback, it was bad. Like they might want to draft another quarterback. It
I
was
got someone
bad,
at the door. If you're listening, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Tell me what we can do to improve. I
Garrett
know we
Wilson
didn't
and
talk
Brees
about
Hall
the Jets.
are worth a top 5 pick. That's all you gotta know about the Jets. And their quarterback sucks forever unless they get fucking somebody in free
Draft
agency.
Brees Hall.
Draft Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson.
Later.